Caleb, obviously a big win against San Jose, especially given that you guys were able to snap that winless streak with it. With how dominant that performance was, what do you think it says about the team to be able to come out and perform like that, and what do you need to do to carry that forward to this weekend?
Yeah, the last two games were very good performances. Obviously, we played, up a man. But I do want to point out that it was 13-0 in shots in the first half. And when you look at the play, and go back and watch those first 38 minutes, we played just as good or better when it was even numbers. Good energy to start the game. We set the tone early, really aggressive. I thought our transition was and pressure was good, our possession, and we created a lot of chances. And really when they lost the man, I thought it took away their counterattack quite a bit. But really, as far as the organization and their two lines of, kind of four, didn't change a ton, other than now they had to really just buckle down and defend. And in some ways it makes it even more difficult, but really liked the performance overall. I liked the patience. It was great to finally find that first goal and then even the second goal. And, everybody thinks it's easy up a man. Well, tell that to the Chicago Fire, when they were up two men and they couldn't score. It's not easy sometimes to find a goal.
The Timbers have been one of the best teams at home in MLS in recent years. And you had talked about the difficult schedule where this kind of winless streak happened, but you have these two games at home, and you obviously won the first one with San Jose. Why do you think it is that the team has been so good at home? And when you kind of looked at the schedule, did you see this as an opportunity to kind of rebound from the winless streak with these two home games?
Yeah, so in looking at the schedule, we knew we had that very difficult stretch, 4 or 5 on the road, and then 2 home games, and then another really difficult stretch when you factor in the Open Cup. After this Dallas game, we played Tuesday on the road. Didn't get much help with the draw there. Then we have to travel to Colorado. Then we have to travel for a midweek game to Minnesota, and then we're back playing our biggest rival. So, then I think we go on the road to Kansas City with another Open Cup match if we get the result. So my point is you have to take care of business in the home games. There's no secret formula. When you look at the teams that get in the playoffs, the teams that do well, they win their games at home, and they're very dominant at home. And so yes, we've done well at home, but most good teams do well at home, and we need to make sure that we take care of business in the majority of our home games remaining. The nice thing is we've gotten 2 wins on the road. Last year we weren't able to do that. We'll get some wins on the road. I'm confident of that. We'll have more. But if we take care of business at home, steal a couple results on the road, some points, some 3-pointers, we're going to be in good shape.
When you guys went on the road to Dallas, that was probably one of your best performances in the winless streak that you guys had. They're a team that's done well this year, but you guys went toe-to-toe with them at their place. What challenges do they present, and what do you think makes you guys is maybe a good matchup against them?
Yeah, we're the best team in the league, points per game right now in the West. Sometimes that table is deceiving because of games in hand. So they're the top of the West. And when you look at their 6-2 performance against RSL, you can see why. And they've got Mauro Diaz back, and Lama in form, getting a hat trick, and Maxi's having a great year. Obviously, they have a few guys out in the back line. Hedges, Zimmerman, 2 key guys for them. Obviously, we have 2 key guys in Nagbe and Guzman. So it's going to be a very good game, exciting game. Like you said, we played extremely well, I thought, versus them in the last game there. Disappointed not to get the 3 points because I thought we had it, in our hands and let it slip away. So I know the guys are going to be motivated to get 3 points in this game, but we understand we're playing the best team in the West at this stage in the season.
Coach, you mentioned some of the absences that Coach Pareja is having to deal with. Really a lot of players from their team has gone based on how he and Fernando have set up that roster. For you, preparing for this game, Does that change the task? Do you find yourself preparing as much, if not more, for the coach rather than the players?
Yeah, well, like I said, I mean, we all have guys missing. You know, we have two of our best players missing in this game and a few others, you know, to injury. You know, they have Hedges, Zimmerman, and Acosta, so those are three key guys for them in the back of their team. So, honestly, I think it's the way this league is. Everybody's going to lose guys during the international windows. And when you look at our teams, we both have good rosters. We both have guys missing. So I think it kind of levels out. It's going to come down to the players that are actually here, the players that are playing, and it's going to come down to the moments over the 90 minutes. It's that simple. You know, they showed again without Hedges, Zimmerman, and Acosta. So don't forget, they had those three guys out last game, and they won 6-2. So I don't think they're going to be too worried about having those two guys out when you're winning 6-2 like that.
You mentioned players get called up. Everybody has to deal with it. Some teams are lucky enough to get players back. Kansas City got a key player back on Saturday.
Yeah.
As a coach from a team that didn't get that benefit of the doubt, that didn't get the option to have your player back, how do you react to one team having that kind of advantage that the other teams in the league aren't afforded?
We won the game. We won the game. So that's all I'll say. But I think if you ask every other coach other than Kansas City, they're going to say the same thing. You know, you can't ask for cooperation from the clubs to have players come in early outside of the transfer window. So legally, we're not required to do that. We cooperated because we want the U.S. to qualify. But if you're going to ask all clubs to do that, then you have to be consistent in adhering to that.
Now, you have a busy stretch of games coming up with the midweek match up in Tukwila. Has that, along with the absence of two key midfield options, changed how you decide to rotate your squad over that short period of time? How early out in this process do you have to decide who's going to play on the weekend and who's going to make the trip up to Seattle?
Every year you get better at looking ahead, you know, so we are looking ahead. Obviously, we will take this game versus Dallas as it comes. That's the number one priority right now. That's the number one focus. But internally, our staff is prepared for the next game, Open Cup, how we're going to approach it, and the next game, Colorado, Minnesota, and then the following game, Seattle. So we've already looked at all those games. There will be some rotation, no doubt about it. You know, and I would say the way the Open Cup draw came out, that's not really our decision. That's the Open Cup's decision. They made it for us. Playing a game Tuesday on the road, there's no other choice but to rotate in that game with the follow-up game on the road to Colorado. You know, so we're going to be playing a young group. We're going to use it to develop players, to give them a good experience. You know, no matter who we put out, we're going to put out a team that's, you know, hopefully going to win the game. But we're going to do it with different guys. There'll be rotation. There'll be a very young team. Most likely it'll be young guys back into our roster and some T2 guys in that game that will play in that game. And there's just no choice. You can't play a game, Dallas, turn around 2 days later, go and play, you know, on a very, very poor turf, and then turn around and go to Colorado without rotating your squad. What makes it really difficult for us is we have Maddox out, we have Barnby out, we have Chance Myers out, we have Guzman out, we have we have Nagby out. You know, so that makes it difficult. But I'm actually excited at the opportunity to play some guys and give them a run. Jeremy Ebobisi, I always pronounce it wrong. Ebobisi, that's how you pronounce it, right? Once you get your brain wired on a pronunciation, it's hard to break it. Ebobisi, who's back now and done very well with the 20s, scoring 2 goals. Guys like Victor Arboleda. You know, we want to use this as an opportunity. So in some ways, I thank the Open Cup for, you know, putting us on the road again for the 3rd time at Seattle, because we'll use it as an opportunity to play a lot of young guys.
And Coach, I know every game probably has a similar level of importance to you, so I hate phrasing it like this. But for Saturday, coming off a really good first 35, 36 minutes, and having the game at home against a Dallas team that is missing some key players, does that present kind of an extra opportunity to cement the good work that you did against San Jose?
My message to the team was we played very well the last two games, two of our best games of the year. When you look at all our KPIs that we follow, and, listen, they don't always tell the exact story, but it tells us a lot because it tells you historically what it means when you do certain things and based on our style of play. And, our best two games analytically were the last two games that we played. The third best was Houston here at home. And that absolutely tells a story. Absolutely. That's the reality of your performance. And I think if anybody watched the last two games and watched the Houston game, they'd say those were three of our best games in terms of all the things we value in the way that we want to play. And so that's really positive. Now can we put together a third 90-minute performance? And if we do, I think we're going to be again in a position where we're going to hopefully get 3 points and get a result. I believe truly in a process that if you prepare well, you play well. If you play well, you're going to be in a position in a soccer game to win games. Seattle didn't happen, but like I said after the game, we play well again. We're going to be in a position, and we won, and it's going to be no different in this game. San Jose, the 3-0 loss, we did not deserve to win the game. I thought Dallas we did. I thought Atlanta, we were in a position, played really well that game as well. So when you look at this team, we've been, even though it doesn't look like it in terms of results, we're flying under the radar a little bit with that. Our staff, our players feel like we're playing some really good soccer right now.
Can you update us on some of those injuries you mentioned? I don't know if I'm missing anyone, but I guess Barmby, Maddox, and Myers.
Yeah, Barmby rolled his ankle last week. That's why he wasn't available. We had one attacking sub. That was Victor Arboleta for the bench, which is why we didn't sub. But also, team didn't need it to be. We didn't feel like we needed to sub. So Barmby's out. Darren Maddox, hamstring. He's been out a couple weeks. Chance Myers has been out, I think, 45 days. He's getting closer. We're hoping that we get some of these guys back to be able to rotate for the Minnesota match. We've kind of targeted that as another match that it makes sense to, if we have good enough depth, to rotate some guys in that game.
Maybe it wouldn't have made a difference with the Saturday-Tuesday game anyways, but was MLS changing the Colorado game to a Saturday from that Sunday? Does that change what you'd have to do to approach this next 3 games?
Well, gives you a little bit more time in between, obviously, the Open Cup game, so that's good. We did change our schedule. We were going to travel directly to Minnesota by having it Saturday. That allows us to come back in between. So we made that tweak, which I think is good. So it was a TV deal, but we didn't mind it.